Welcome to Retro Sparkle Designs. Today's tutorial will be on the Arie Hoodie. We will need one back, one front, two pocket bindings, one waistband, two cuffs, one pocket, and make sure you're marking on your pocket where your hash lines are, two front hood pieces, two back hood pieces, and then two hood liners. Begin by taking your hood liner pieces and placing them right sides together. Pin and then sew around the curved edge of the hood. Here we have the finished hood liner. Go ahead and set that aside and we will work on the main hood. Here we have our main hood pieces, the front and the back. Take the front and lay it right sides together with the hood back, and then go ahead and pin along the straight edge. Repeat for the other side and then sew. Here we have our left and right side of the hood main. We're going to place them right sides together and pin around the curved edge. Go ahead and sew. Here we have the completed hood main. We will now take the hood liner, which is right sides out, and we're going to slide it inside of the hood main. Align the top seam on the front and pin that in place, and then go ahead and continue pinning around that edge, the outer edge of the hood, and then sew these together. Now the hood main and the hood liner are sewn together. Go ahead and flip it right sides out. I like to go ahead and put a pin on that back seam just to make sure it stays together. And then we can set the hood aside for now. Now we will be working on the pocket binding. Take your binding and place it right sides together with your pocket. Your binding will be longer than the pocket, so go ahead and line that up and we will cut off any excess. Pin in place and then sew. Here we have the binding in place, and now we will need to fold over the raw edge. So take your raw edge of your binding and fold it towards your seam, and we're going to push the seam towards that raw edge as well. They should almost meet in the middle of your binding. And then fold your binding over again to fully encase that raw edge and the seam line. Here's another view, a little close up. So push your seam towards your raw edge, fold that raw edge in towards your seam, and then fold your binding in half again to cover your seam and your raw edge, and then pin in place. Do this for the full length of your pocket, binding on each side. Here is the fully pinned binding. So now go ahead and top stitch your binding down. Here we have the completed pocket binding. I did make sure to transfer my marks over. We will now be adding the pocket to the front. Align the neckline of the pocket to the neckline of the front bodice and pin in place. And then I will be doing the same for the bottom edge of the pocket and the sides. Now you will need to pin the binding down to your bodice. I will be using straight pins, and I like to pin horizontally just so I can sew closer to that pin and have a little bit more stability. So go ahead and pin all the way down to your pocket marking, and then we will be top stitching this down. Here we have our fully top stitched pocket. So you see you can still get your hands in there. Here's the back. And now we will be basting the neckline together, so we have no slippage when we go to add our hood. Here is the basted neckline. I just used my serger, but you may use a regular sewing machine to do this. Next, take your back bodice and place it right sides together with your front bodice. Line up your shoulder seams and your side seams and pin those all in place. On the side seams, make sure you are getting your side of your pocket in there as well. And then go ahead and sew the side seams and the shoulders. Here is the completed side seams and shoulder seams. Go ahead and flip your top right sides out now. And then I'm going to go ahead and quarter my neckline and the waist of my bodice. Now let's prepare the cuffs and the waistband. Take your cuffs and fold them in half, right sides together, and pin that longer edge and then sew. For the waistband, go ahead and fold that one in half, right sides together, pin the shorter edge and sew. Here we have the completed cuffs and waistband. So now take your cuffs and fold them in half wrong sides together, aligning the raw edges, and then go ahead and mark the halfway points on your cuffs. For the waistband, again, fold in half wrong sides together, mark the quarter points on your waistband. Now we can add the hood, the cuffs, and the waistband to our bodice. I'm going to start with the cuffs. Take your cuff and place it over the end of your sleeve. Line up those halfway marks with the seams on your sleeve and then pin in place. Repeat for your other cuff. For the waistband, take the waistband and slide it over the bottom of your bodice. We're going to align the raw edges and those quarter points and then pin in place. For the front, make sure you are snagging that pocket piece in with that clip, so when you sew it together, everything will be sewing. Now for the hood, we're going to lay it right sides together to the back. And then I'm going to line up that center seam of the back of my hood to the center point of my neckline. For the front of the hood needs to cross over about 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to line up a 1/2 inch in on my hood, and then I'm going to pin that in place. And then I'm going to bring the second side over so they cross over that 1/2 inch and then pin. I like to add an extra clip here on the ends of the hood to make sure when I'm sewing it that it's staying in place and that it's not slipping out, and that when I go to sew it, it's actually getting snagged in the seam line there. And then go ahead and ease your hood in the rest of the way to your neckline and pin all the way around. Go ahead and sew your hood, your cuffs, and your waistband all on right now. Go ahead and flip down your cuffs and your band and your hood so everything's all right sides out. And then here you have your completed hoodie.